Your sleep schedule might be slowly killing you, not in an obvious way, but in a silent, long-term way that affects your heart, your brain, and how long you live. And scientists didn't guess this. They studied over 1.3 million people. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Let me ask you something real quick. How many hours did you sleep last night? 6? 5? Or maybe you didn't sleep at all, and you're watching this right now with a cup of coffee in your hand. Here's the thing. I went deep into the scientific research on sleep. And honestly, what I found surprised even me. We're not just talking about feeling tired the next day. We're talking about your heart, your brain, your immune system, even how long you might live. And no, this is not an exaggeration. In today's video, I'm going to walk you through the findings of 12 major scientific studies covering more than 1.3 million people. And by the end of this video, you might never look at your bedtime the same way again. Before we dive in, do me a quick favor. If you care about your health and want more science-based content like this, hit that subscribe button. All right, now let's get into it. Part 1, the sleep crisis. First, let's zoom out for a second. Sleep is not optional. It's one of the most ancient, fundamental behaviors we share with almost every living creature on this planet. But something has changed, and it changed fast. According to surveys from the National Sleep Foundation back in 1998, about 35% of Americans were getting a full 8 hours of sleep. By 2005, that number dropped to just 26%. And today, it's probably even lower. So what happened? Think about it. Just about a century ago, when the sun went down, your day was basically over. Maybe you had a candle, producing about 1 lux of light. That's it. Now, we have bright artificial lights, 24/7 stores, night shifts, and most importantly, screens glowing in our faces until midnight. Your brain thinks it's still daytime, even at 1 a.m., and scientists started asking a very simple question. What happens to the human body when we consistently cut our sleep short? The answers are a little unsettling. Part 2, sleep and lifespan. Let's start with the big question. Can sleep actually affect how long you live? A major analysis published in the journal Sleep in 2010 looked at data from 16 long-term studies. In total, they followed almost 1.4 million people over several years. And what they found was striking. People who regularly slept less than 6 hours a night had a 12% higher risk of dying during the study period compared to those sleeping 7 to 8 hours. But here's the part that surprised even researchers. Sleeping too much also showed increased risk. People who slept more than 9 hours had a 30% higher risk. This pattern is what scientists call a U-shaped relationship. Too little sleep, higher risk. Too much sleep, also higher risk. The sweet spot seems to be right in the middle. Now, let's be clear about something important. This does not mean that sleeping 9 hours is dangerous by itself. Researchers believe that longer sleep might actually be a signal, not a cause. It could reflect underlying issues like chronic illness, depression, or ongoing inflammation in the body. So, in many cases, long sleep is more like a warning light on the dashboard. Part 3, your heart while you sleep now. Let's zoom in on something even more serious. Your heart. Heart disease is the leading cause of death worldwide. Every year, millions of people die from heart attacks and strokes. So, naturally, scientists asked, could sleep be part of the equation? In 2011, analyzed 15 studies involving nearly 500,000 people. Here's what they found. People who slept less than 6 hours per night had a 48% higher risk of developing or dying from heart disease. 48%. That's not small. And when it comes to stroke, short sleep was linked to a 15% higher risk. But again, it's not just about too little sleep. People who slept more than 9 hours had a 38% higher risk of heart disease and a 65% higher risk of stroke. Yes, 65%. We spend billions on heart medications, surgeries, treatments, but what if something as simple as consistent quality sleep could significantly change your risk? The science suggests it absolutely can. Quick pause for a second. How many hours do you usually sleep? Drop it in the comments below. I'm really curious. Part 4, the weight connection. Now let's talk about something a lot of people struggle with. Weight. One study from Japan followed over 8,000 children, and here's what they found. Kids who slept less than 8 hours per night had almost 3 times the risk of obesity compared to those sleeping 10 hours or more. 3 times. Now, what about adults? Shorter sleep was linked to higher body weight. So, what's actually going on here? Why would sleep affect your weight? This is where it gets really interesting. Your body has hormones that control hunger. Leptin tells your brain you're full. Ghrelin tells your brain you're hungry. And when you don't get enough sleep, these hormones go out of balance. It's a double hit. And it gets worse. A review in Metabolism in 2018 looked at lab studies where people were actually forced to sleep less. The results were consistent. People ate more calories than they needed. They craved high-fat, high-sugar foods, and their bodies became less efficient at handling blood sugar. So it's not just willpower. Your biology is literally working against you when you don't sleep enough. Part 5. Blood sugar and diabetes. Now, speaking of blood sugar, let's talk about something even more serious. Type 2 diabetes. This condition affects hundreds of millions of people worldwide and is a major cause of heart disease, kidney failure, blindness, and even amputations, and sleep deprivation, and appears to be part of the risk. In laboratory studies, researchers took healthy young adults and limited their sleep to just 4 hours per night for several days. What happened next was alarming. Their bodies became worse at regulating blood sugar, showing patterns similar to pre-diabetes. At the same time, your body becomes less sensitive to insulin, the hormone that helps move sugar from your blood into your cells. It's like your cells start ignoring insulin's signal, and over time, that's exactly the kind of process that can lead to diabetes. And if this is surprising so far, send this video to someone who always says, "I'll sleep later." They probably need to see this. Part 6. Your brain on bad sleep. Now let's talk about something that might concern you even more. Your brain. A major analysis published in the journal Sleep in 2017 looked at 27 studies with nearly 70,000 participants. The question was simple. Do sleep problems increase the risk of cognitive decline or Alzheimer's disease? The answer? Yes. Significantly. People with sleep problems had a 68% higher risk of cognitive impairment or Alzheimer's compared to those who slept well. Even more striking, researchers estimated that around 15% of Alzheimer's cases might be linked to sleep problems. That's not a small number. Another review in Sleep Medicine Reviews in 2019 looked specifically at insomnia. Let that sink in. Just a few nights of poor sleep. And your body starts behaving differently. Why does this happen? Several reasons. Sleep deprivation increases cortisol, a stress hormone. It activates your fight or flight system. Both of these raise blood sugar. Across 48 studies, people with insomnia consistently performed worse on attention, memory, problem solving, and there's more. Your body runs on something called a circadian rhythm, basically your internal 24-hour clock. A review in Translational Psychiatry in 2020 showed that when this rhythm gets disrupted, for example, night shift work, too much artificial light at night, it can affect your mental health. Researchers found links to depression, anxiety, and other mood disorders. So your brain isn't just resting when you sleep, it's doing essential maintenance. And when you skip that, the effects can build up over time. Part 7. Sleep and immune system. Have you ever noticed? When you don't sleep well, you seem to catch every cold going around? That's not just in your head. There's real science behind it. A major review in Physiological Reviews in 2019 looked at the relationship between sleep and the immune system. And it turns out, it goes both ways. That's not laziness. That's your immune system asking for resources. But here's the other side of the equation. Defenses get weaker. The research shows reduced ability to fight infections, weaker responses to vaccines. When you don't sleep enough, you're immune. And it doesn't stop there. Looked at 72 studies with over 50,000 people. They found that poor sleep is linked to higher levels of inflammation in the body, and chronic inflammation is connected to heart disease, diabetes, even cancer. Interestingly, they found that sleep quality might matter even more than just sleep duration. So it's not only about how long you sleep, it's also about how well you sleep. So here's the big picture. 12 major scientific studies, millions of people. And the message is surprisingly consistent. Sleep is not just about feeling rested. It's connected to how long you live, your heart health, your weight, your blood sugar, your brain function, and your immune system. Across these studies, one pattern keeps showing up. Around 7 hours of sleep per night seems to be associated with the lowest health risks for most adults. Of course, individual needs can vary. And just to be clear, I'm not a doctor, and this isn't medical advice, but the science is pointing in one clear direction. Sleep matters. A lot more than most of us think. So now I'm curious. Has this changed the way you think about your sleep? Let me know in the comments. And if you found this video helpful, consider subscribing, and check out some of our other content on health and science. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.